I'm Kevin Fleischman,
And I'm Marcy Robledo.
and we are two film programmers with the Over the Rhine International Film Festival in good old Cincinnati, Ohio, USA.
And with GenX Lens, we decided to create this channel to rewatch and review films from our youth, but then also look through them through our middle-aged lenses. And for this segment, we're going to rewatch and review The Neverending Story. But before we do that, Kevin, what have you been watching?
Yes.
What
have I been watching lately? Let's see. I am watching season 2 of Loki on Disney Plus. We're 2 episodes in the second season. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's the best thing Marvel has going right now for it. I could sit and watch Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston. You know, if they ever decide to do a bottle episode where they go to a diner and they don't even like order anything, like they're just like talking about what they're going to get and trying to order, I would watch it on repeat. Like, I just think their chemistry is great. I just love the vibe of Loki, like the TVA, like where the main setting where it takes place, like reminds me of my grandmother's house. Like, it's just so retro, which not only looks cool, but I love how the show is about time and being tricked by time. And I think that was a smart production choice to have this story that feels futuristic, look way off in its time. You know, it gives the audience that same off-kilter sense of time that the characters have. So I'm really enjoying that. And the big thing I went to see was I went to see Taylor Swift's movie. I saw the concert.
Did you?
I did. I was very out of place as a 50-year-old male by myself, late on a Friday night seeing it. But man, it was, you know, I would not consider myself a Swiftie by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, there's a handful of her songs that I very much enjoy, especially the 1989 era. But you know, it was sitting there and watching it. It's strictly a concert film. You know, there's no real narrative. There's no narrative to it outside of whatever she does on stage within her own show. But you know, I gotta say, this is why God invented movie theaters. You know, we all clamor for this bygone era of being able to have a communal experience and being able to watch things as a group. You know, like there were like teens and tweens, like literally jumping up and down, running up and down the aisles, singing their song, singing all the song lyrics as loudly as they could. There's like those, what do you call those things that they go to? I've seen them in soccer games. They're like 2 inflatable rods almost, and like you bang them together and they go like thunk thunk thunk, like this noisemaker thing. Like they had neon flashing noisemakers. There was a group of, I'm going to guess, recent college graduates, about 4 or 5 women next to me, and just oh my gods, they would say, like right as their favorite songs came on, like every single time. I mean, it was, you know, I know this is not what, you know, true pure cinephiles are talking about when they talk about movie theaters being endangered and the communal experience, but like it was the best physical, like tangible representation of what we yearn for that I've seen in a long time. I thought it was amazing, you know, and Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift for a reason. I mean, she obviously has to carry every scene in the movie, and she does. I mean, you could feel her stage, the immensity of her stage presence even on film. You know, I've said there are only 2 concerts I've been to where the performer had everyone basically hypnotized, where they could get me to do whatever they wanted. It was Prince, who relished it and reveled in it, and it was Kurt Cobain, who wanted nothing to do with it. And Taylor has that. I mean, I've seen hundreds of shows. I think she joins the group of now 3 that are just so phenomenal. So That's been my viewing over the last couple weeks. How about you?
So talking about concert movies, I rewatched Stop Making Sense at the movie theater. It's been re-released. I think it's the
Oh,
40th,
nice.
and it was part of the Heartland Film Festival in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Um, Went down on a Sunday afternoon, and I have that movie. I have the DVD, so I've seen it a million times. But to your
Okay.
point, on the screen, it's just so much better, so
Mm,
much better, and it just envelops you so much more. And um,
yes.
it's I'm not a Swiftie. I you know I listen to her songs as they come on the radio, but I've not ever downloaded, never been compelled to buy a song or buy an album of hers. But I really appreciate what she is doing to the culture. She and Beyonce. This has been the summer of
Hmm.
the ladies. We had Barbie, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, breaking records. Um, it's just this is a moment. This is an interesting cultural moment, and so we'll see what happens. Um,
Yeah.
but I do want to go to movie theater and watch her concert.
Yeah. It's worth it just to be in the crowd. I'm jealous that you saw Stop Making Sense. That was one I missed in Toronto. I've never seen it on the big screen. Um, my life goals is to get to the Milwaukee Film Festival because it is their tradition to play Stop Making Sense on the closing night every year. And
Oh,
there where they play it, there are no seats. Everyone's standing, everyone's dancing. It's supposed to be a time. So that
well, speaking of David Byrne, I saw another film of his that he actually produced and was part of. It's called Contemporary Color or Color Contemporary. I think it's Contemporary Color. And it was made back in 2017. He discovered color guard, specifically winter guard. So anybody
oh
who's
yeah.
is
Hmm.
the guard, but to him it was something new, and he fell in love with it. So he put money behind this documentary, and I saw it on Mubi, MUBI, the online
Hmm.
streaming, and uh, so he recruited a bunch of, I think, 10 acts, musical acts, singers, songwriters, some well named, some beginners. And so they would write an original song for a color guard corps. And so it was a
Hmm.
competition for that. And I love the idea. I love the concept. The kids were all excited. I love that. But I did not appreciate the directorial style. I think there were two directors. And what I did not like about it is that for color guard, you have to see the entirety. That's the performance. What they were doing, they
Hmm.
were going in really tight and looking at individuals, which that's fine as breaking up the tension a little bit from the wide shot, but they would completely stray away from that particular performance to something else completely irrelevant. And it would just take you out of the moment. You can never really fully appreciate the actual performance that the kids were doing, which is
Okay.
counterproductive to showcase this documentary. So I'm going to be writing a review on that, posting it up on our website. Um, so, but yeah, it was just, I think it was bookending David Byrne, Stop Making Sense, and then Contemporary Color, just the greatness of one and the not so greatness of one. That doesn't have anything to do with the directorial style, but
Hmm.
just the fact that he found something that he loved and he put his money behind it and really pushed it out into the world. I really, really appreciate that. So that's
Oh, that's awesome.
kept me busy these last couple of weeks. A lot of David Byrne.
Great. Hey,
And like,
nothing wrong with a lot of David Byrne. We could all use more David Byrne in our lives.
exactly, exactly. So let's go ahead and talk about the never ending story.
The never ending story. So, um, this is another, I feel like this happens to me a lot with you and with our friend Bo, that you always suggest movies I somehow missed back in the day. So I am coming into this fresh. I unfortunately do not have the story of seeing this in the theater, um, or any long held memories of this film. But I will say, of all the films we've done for this program, for this project, this is the one that I'm the most pissed about that I did not see when I would have been 11 or 12 years old when this came out. I actually just watched it this morning. Um, what a movie. What a movie. This is so good. I mean, I spent 23 years as a middle school English teacher. I am a lover of books. I am an only child who spent a lot of time in my head by myself. Um, I mean, growing up, I would not describe myself as a book lover or aficionado, but I enjoyed reading. Every once in a while, I found myself lost, in Narnia or somewhere like that. I enjoyed books, but man, like this, I mean, this movie was right up my alley. And watching it, I kept thinking, this feels so perfect and so on the nose for 50-year-old me. What, timing is really important. Um, my wife and I often joke, if we had met each other 5 years earlier, 10 years earlier, would we have gotten married? Would we have even dated? Would we have been interested in each other? Timing is so essential. And I wonder if would would it have had the impact, or I'm sorry, what type of impact would it have had? Would it have pushed me sooner and perhaps further on my trajectory, of all those things I love, or would have been too on the nose and I would have said, okay, we've covered that. I'm 12. I'm gonna go do skateboarding now. Like I don't know. It's really interesting. So I'd be very curious to know, what was it like watching this movie as a youngin?
As a youngin. So I would have been about 10, 12 when it came out. So still very, very much impressionable. And I remember when I saw it, um, it was kind of scary in some parts. For instance, when Bastion is in the school attic all by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Are you by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
That's scary, dude. uh,
Yeah.
but he was being brave. He was brave. He was part of the story. He was bravely going through the story. And so as a kid, just not really understanding that you are part of the great story, the big story.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, of course, the special effects were so uh, mm, compared to now very underdeveloped, but it was still very.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything. We didn't have Marvel movies to compare it to, so it was still very charming. And the Falcor, the Luck Dragon, um,
Mm-hmm.
Falcor, and the
Yeah. I want me a luck dragon for sure, man.
and
You know,
the
you brought up the sorry, go ahead.
well, I also really liked the different species in her court, the different characters, the species
Mm-hmm.
in her court. I was really fascinated with all of that, and it was puppetry clearly, and just being really so cool. So I
Yeah.
was taken by it as a kid. As an adult, I understand it better. As a kid, the deeper meanings of things I didn't fully grasp. Kind of did, but not fully. But
Mhm.
looking at it through 52 years, 52-year-old eyes as opposed to 12 years. Um, the
I love the practical. Sorry again, I keep cutting you off.
it just resonated much better, much deeper, much more deep now. And we can talk about some of those themes a little bit later. But yeah, to your point about what are you going to say about the special effects?
I thought they were fantastic. There's something about practical effects. This is a big thing with me. Like, how they say if you're supposed to cook something, if you cook something with love, it'll actually taste different. Like, you can feel that. I'm not going to disparage the work of incredibly talented and hardworking CGI artists who create the worlds of modern moviescapes. But I think there's something, I know they put their love into their work as well, but it's not a physical object, right? And I miss that feeling, and I can't quite explain why. I seeing these puppets, of course, they're not realistic. They're not, authentic or believable, but they have a charm and like you said, and they have a power to them that I feel like we're on such a rush toward authenticity and realism that I think you sacrifice some of the soul in this. So I thought the special effects, again, not overly convincing or realistic, but so enjoyable, so more than that, affecting. And I looked it up on Common Sense Media. I really like their age recommendations for kids, and they say this movie's okay for 8-year-olds, and I have an 8-year-old. I will say there is no way, no way on earth I'm letting my 8-year-old watch this movie. Like, I want to sleep through the night at least once in the next 5 months. Oh my gosh, like, it was terrifying. What was, like, the wolfy looking guy near the end with the green eyes in the cave that went after the boy? Like, there's some scary, scary stuff in this movie, which I think is great. There's who wrote Where the Wild Things Are? Maurice Sendak, I believe, is the name. And he lobbied for scaring kids, through literature, right? Like, through the arts. Like, this is how you learn to wrestle with things in the real world, is you do it in a safe space, which is a movie or a book. So I thought a lot about that quote while I was watching this movie today. Like, I am definitely a Gen X parent of a whatever kids are now. Like, I don't know if we're past Z by this point. I don't know what we're calling my 8-year-old's generation.
Gen Alpha, I think.
Maybe, but I know I should probably just sit them down and watch this movie. I'm not quite ready yet. Not quite ready yet. Maybe I should be more like the dad in the first scene of this movie. That was unbelievable to me. The mom's dead. We got to go on with our lives. I'm off to wherever. Good luck getting to school. Like, what do you say? It was like a 20-minute walk or something to school, like through the city. Um, Bullies aplenty, chasing them down. Yeah, very, very different, very, very different parenting style. Like, I love that. This was a good talk. Let's maybe have another talk like this again one day. Like, that was a terrible talk. It was the worst talk I've ever seen. Um, but again, it probably would have rung true. It's probably not probably. It was pretty similar to a lot of conversations my parents had with me back in the day. Um, so that's definitely something that I notice is the parenting style is very different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the big nothing. Throughout my life, having seen it when I was younger, whenever there would be an existential crisis that I was going through, or something that I had to be brave and face, in my mind, I will call it, oh, it's the big nothing.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it's the destruction of, or it's the realization of, being, those moments that you have to grow up and they break you a little bit. This growing pain
Hmm.
along the way.
Yep.
Those are the effects of the big nothing.
Hmm.
But we have to have those. I mean, you can't just be coddled all our lives. And what kind of life would we have if we were just constantly coddled? It's not. I can't
Hmm.
imagine a good one. So we need the nothing every now and then to, I don't say course correct, but to show perspective.
Hmm.
Um, so I
Yeah.
appreciate nothing, but I'm afraid of the nothing sometimes. And that's the point. Atreyu, he was the brave warrior, and he at the end he was ready to fight the wolf, and so just tapping into that bravery, as does Bastion, and
Hmm.
calling out the name for the new name for the Empress, which, by the way, after all of these many times, I still don't know what it is that he called her. Did you pick up on the name?
No, no, if I were reviewing the film, I would say the sound mixing needs a lot of work. I was I was ready for it. I was like, is it? And yeah, I don't know.
And maybe
I
that
mean,
was
maybe that's the point.
intentional.
Maybe it's a lot like the Lost in Translation ending, right? When we don't know what Bill Murray whispers into ScarJo's ear
Mm-hmm.
at the end. Yeah, I love the whole Atreyu Bastion, Atreyu and Bastion dichotomy. I reading the blurb about it, I thought I always envisioned Bastion being like pulled into the actual story and the kids meeting, on a physical or fantastic level. Um, but I love the idea that Atreyu, when he tells the is it the princess that at the end that or the empress that why did I have to do all that? Why did I have to go through all these hard times? Why did I have to lose my best friend, my horse? Why did I have to go through the swamps and the Sphinx? And it was like that's how you got the Earthling here. So Bastion never actually, I guess he does for a brief moment, but like he really doesn't appear in the story. Like the power, the change, the event that saves Fantasia takes place, as you said, in that scary attic. Um, I thought that was just such an incredibly deft and endearing way to show the power of story. It's like I don't know. I almost look at Atreyu as the main character of this film, and just going out and living a life that people will want to follow, and the power of living your life as being in a way being the author of your own life, or maybe having a ghost written by the empress. I don't know, but it was such a powerful message about the importance of story, and what happens when we don't have story, what happens when we don't have these connections. It's a thing that you and I both are scared of. It's the big nothing when that goes away.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And Atreyu is just such he's just so pure. I mean, he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have ego in the sense that he's the best bravery or the best brave boy to take on this task. He was just given this task. All right, I got a journey,
Yes.
and um, that's what I loved about him, is that he knew who he is. Um, and he's just doing it. He's not questioning it. Unlike Bastion, he's always overthinking it. The contrast between the two boys, Bastion is
Mm.
in the book and can't believe, how am I in this story? How am I? Why am I? I'm not in this story. And so finally
Yeah.
he just surrenders and understands that he is part of the story, and that's when he gives
Yeah.
her gives
Well, it's the whole idea of the mirror, right? Where Atreyu has to look in the mirror. It's not just that Bastion saved Fantasia, right? Fantasia saved Bastion as well. You know, as we assume and we hope that, you know, the bullies getting thrown in the garbage dumpster will serve that as well. Yeah, I love your comment about the lack of ego on Atreyu, and I miss that. Like I found the lack of ego and a lack of cynicism that is in this movie. I found so unbelievably refreshing because I we don't have that anymore. You know, we're in the sarcastic, ironic age. You know, like every time Atreyu finds like a new god or monster or whatever it was, you know, he's like, "Who are you?" And everyone answers. And like he doesn't say, "Are you trying to trick me? Like, are you really that person?" Like everyone's just like, "Who are you?" "Okay, I will tell you. Here I am. You know, here are the rules of the game. Here's what we're gonna do." There's such a an earnestness, even with the introduction of the bullies in the beginning. You know, like there was no introduction. Like we barely know Bastion, but like they're just here. They just do what they do. They're not trying to like be work on a whole lot of different levels character wise. Um, I miss the forthrightness and the earnestness um,
Mhm.
of of that
Mhm.
age of movies, not children actors. Yeah.
So what do you think the lucky dragon symbolizes?
I'm sorry. What the Lucky Dragon? What?
What do you think the lucky dragon symbolizes?
What does a lucky dragon symbolize? Um, don't know if it's quite a symbol, but I think, you know, the lucky dragon is just like he almost reminds me of, in a weird way, Spicoli from Fast Times. He's just like, dude, everything's going to work out. It'll be fine. Like you need to go 10,000 miles, no problem, bro. Let's go. Um,
Do you think it's
I,
fake?
I I I think the dragon represents the idea of you have to have belief that things are going to be okay, that you have to be an active participant. I mean, Atreyu never really gives up, but he thinks things are pretty dang hopeless for him until he meets the dragon. The dragon's like, "Don't worry about it. You know, we're actually right around the corner from this place you thought was impossible to get to." And I kept thinking throughout the movie, you know, at first I was obsessed with the idea or focused on the idea that everything that was happening in Fantasia was for Bastion's benefit. Like it was like a field guide to Bastion, like a primer. Like this is how you should be living your life. And yeah, I think that's what to me that's what the lucky dragon would be. The idea that you have to participate, you have to believe.
Mhm.
How about
And
you?
not only believe, but then also just not be afraid to dream and imagine and tap into
Mm-hmm.
city. Um, right now, one of the big nothings is AI. It scares the hell out of me. And I've always embraced technology. I like technology, love technology, but AI
Yeah.
really scares me on many different levels. Um, one is as a creative, is it gonna, and it goes beyond just, is it gonna take my job? It's it's something much bigger than that. And I can't really explain it, but it's just so much bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And and so yeah, just being able to imagine beyond this existential threat of AI, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to tap into my inner Atreyu and face that, face
Inner Atreyu.
that black wolf. he's, he's the minion of the big nothing. He's gonna get me. Um, but being able to imagine past the dooms, whatever the doomsday issue du jour.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
we will get past this whole AI thing, just like we did when the steam engine came
Mm-hmm.
out. Um, you know, it's
Exactly.
we'll figure it out. We'll get through it. Um,
Yep.
it's really a moment.
It may not work out. Yeah, it may not work out the way we think it will or want it to, but it will work out probably the way it's supposed to.
Exactly, exactly. Um, I think what else? I think we covered all the points that I wrote down. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about the movie?
Um, yeah, we hit all my I'm looking at my notes here. I jotted down. Yeah, I think again, like as someone who taught middle school English for 23 years, like yay, power of reading. Way to go, movie. Love you, never ending story. I can't believe I wasn't like, spending every like period before winter break, when you got nothing much going on. Like I can't believe I haven't been throwing this movie in for the kids. Oh,
What do you
what a
think about
loss.
the song, the
The
theme song?
song, oh, the song is just, those opening credits. What a perfect opening credits. The swirling clouds, like just were almost hypnotic and like just you knew you were entering such an unbelievably fantastical world. And man, you throw that song on top of that. Just what what a what an incredible 80s bop. What I mean, there's no like if someone wanted to know what the 80s were like, I would probably just show them the opening credits of this film and say, this is what got us going. Like, yes, this was it.
Yeah, I love that song too. It's just great.
Mm-hmm.
The guy, Chris Hamill, who sung it, um,
Okay.
he had a band, Kaja Gugu. I don't know if you're familiar with Kaja
Oh
Gugu.
yeah. I remember them. Yeah.
That's
I
his
did
band.
not know that was Kajagoogoo guy.
Mhm.
Cool.
So okay, well, I think we covered the never ending story.
I think we have. We're at the end. We're at the end of the never ending story.
are you prepared to list your festival? Okay.
I think I am. I think I am. My festival is going to be about the power of literature. So I haven't thought through an order yet. So we're gonna have Never Ending Story, obviously. I'm gonna pair it with the 2017 documentary Ex Libris, sorry. It's a 3 hour and 15-minute deep dive into the workings of the New York City Public Library.
Ooh,
A fascinating documentary. High recommend. And I will also be programming on my slate perhaps the greatest testament to the power of literature ever put on film, and that would be Dead Poets Society. Robin Williams, Ethan Hawke. It, I mean, what a movie. So three tonally very different films. You're going to kind of go on a roller coaster ride of emotion and engagement with my three films, but there's going to be that through line of just the power of written word. It may be weird, but I want to send people home from a film festival raring to crack open a book instead of seeing the movie.
well, I
How
think
about you? What's your film festival?
so. I too am very literature heavy.
Okay.
Um, so Princess Bride, and there's a lot of
Yes.
between Princess Bride and this one, and they
Bo.
come out about the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah, tonally. That's a great pick. Yes. Love it.
That one, and A Wrinkle in Time.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
I love this story. The movie that came out not too long ago, it was okay, but
Ava DuVernay's. Yeah.
it'll do. It'll do. And then rounding it out with the Bridge to Terabithia.
Yeah.
My
This
fourth
is
Mrs. Blackadder read that to us, and she
Mhm.
had us crying.
Uh,
With fourth graders just crying at the end of this.
oh yeah.
But it was phenomenal.
Something nothing like a good cry. And again, like with Taylor Swift, as a group, right? As a communal experience, I'm sure that was just
Mhm.
amazing.
And
I think my
go ahead.
I think my fifth grade experience was Old Yeller. I think when Mrs. Kasmerzak made the entire class ball.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That should be a bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Old Yeller.
Old Yeller.
Um, I just finished watching this afternoon. I think it was Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso, Roy
Uh-huh.
Kent.
Yeah.
I think it was either GQ or Vanity, one of those magazines. They have this series, 10 Things You Can't Do Without.
Hmm.
Goldstein gave us 10 things, which included swimming goggles, trunks, um, moleskin notebook, um, love of a good woman, love of a
Mm.
bad one.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And he also included um, um, theater seats, the old kind that made you sit up straight, not the kind where you lean back. The drink.
Yeah.
You have to be properly disciplined to sit and watch your movie. So,
Nice.
Brett, I love you even more.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but anyway, good old Brett Goldstein. I can't remember what else he had. Oh, yes, I do. He mentioned movie Don't Look Now with Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it's currently on you can rent it on Prime. So when we're finished
Okay.
here, I'm gonna watch that
Oh,
movie.
nice. That's
But it's
great nightcap. Yeah.
a 70s movie, I think it is. Kind of a psychological thriller.
Yeah.
Perfect movie.
Awesome.
Okay, any final words before we say goodbye?
No, other than if you're like me, if you're of a certain age and you missed Neverending Story when it came out 40 whatever years ago almost, it's doesn't mean it's too late. Check it out. It was fantastic as a first watch.
Yep. And right now it's on HBO Max. So if you have
Yep.
that,
Yep.
and treat yourself. That we'll say goodnight and until next time.
Peace out.